Greetings everyone, I'm the Serious Bear and I'm delighted to welcome you to a new series on my channel called the Rome Remastered Faction Guides, in which I will try to share with you my experience and knowledge of the game to better help you understand it, or at least I hope so. And it's only fitting we start with the House of Julii. Now, before we begin, I want to share some historical facts about the faction. As you may know, it's one of the more important families in Rome. Its first traces of its existence began in the Second Punic War with Sextus Julius Caesar. He was a praetor in Sicily in 157 BC. Its most famous member, yeah, you guessed it, was Gaius Julius Caesar, who conquered Gaul, went into Britain, fought the Cilician pirates, and did all sorts of stuff. He was the first dictator of Rome after he defeated Pompey the Great. And the emperors had the habit to adopt the name Caesar in their name for popularity and success, I believe. And the last member of the dynasty, the Julii dynasty, was of course Nero, who was famous for burning Rome. Not a pleasant thought to remember him by. Okay, with that being said, I will start the intro, and after that we can talk more about the faction. Enjoy!
Gods. I hate Gauls. My grandfather hated them too, even before they put out his eyes. Did you think I'd be out here on the frontier without good reason? Yes, Rome needs a strong frontier. No, Rome doesn't need unwashed barbarians at her gates. So, that's why I'm here, the leader of the Julii, to bring Roman order to stinking Gauls. Revenge? That'd be good too. This war against the Gauls won't last long. And when it's done, I've got plans. This is all about power. Power in Rome. Going down that road means dealing with all my rivals. The Senate, the Greeks, those Carthaginian elephant riders, the Scipii and the Brutii families too. After all, the man who controls Rome rules the world. And one day, I will be emperor.
Okay, quite an ambitious guy, my faction leader. And yes, one day his family shall be emperor, one of the members anyway. Now let's take a look at the map. We start off with 5,000 denarii money. We are playing on very hard, of course. If you play on lower difficulties, you get more money. And you start out with two settlements, Arretium and Ariminium. They are well positioned in northern Italy, and the game wants us to head north. Let's use a cheat code. I won't normally do this. Okay, Fog of War is eliminated. You can see the map. Now we are positioned, as I said, in northern Italy, near the Gauls. Our first objective from the Senate, as you can see here, is take Segesta, which is pretty easy. So our first steps should be to take Segesta with Vibius Julius here.
Attack! Begin the siege!
I will not enter a battle right now. And I believe we should, for our next steps, we should take Mediolanum and Patavium. Patavium is a great city to take. It has the largest growth in any province in the game. Very, very fertile lands, this. And after that we have two choices. We can either head to Segestica here, which is owned by the rebels, and try to get into Dalmatia, Salona first before the Brutii do, or we can head to northwest towards the Gauls, as the game intends us to do. We can head to Massilia and take it before the Gauls do, if we are fast and lucky. And then Lugdunum, and after that Alesia. The Gauls can be conquered, they are pretty weak at the start, but have numerous units, so be careful of that. They will primarily spam warbands, and the AI likes to build many warbands from experience. They will get attacked by the Britons and perhaps the Germanian people. Spain is not a real threat. So let's talk about our economy. The best thing you could do is take Patavium and Mediolanum as the start, as I said. They will provide you with some basic income. And you probably, if you want, you can take Caralis. Sea trade in the game is very profitable. Or perhaps Palma, if you do intend to go that route. But, as you may know, the most profitable part in the game, or territory in the game, is Greece over here. Athens, Corinth, Larissa, Thessaloniki, and probably Byzantium will provide you with a great income from sea trade. And also they have wonders, so that's a good thing. Now let's talk about the buildings in the Julii department. The Julii has access to all the tech in the game. It can go to level 5 in Palace, Imperial Palace. Level 5 in stone walls, epic stone walls. 5 in urban barracks, which allows you to build the best units in the game. 4 in the cavalry department, archers and so forth. In the trade department they have Curia, which is great for trade if you get that far. And Latifundia, which means the best farms in the game. Water and culture, they have expanded buildings, of course. Let's talk about their religion. They can either build Shrine to Ceres, Shrine to Bacchus, or Shrine to Jupiter. So Jupiter is more focused on fighting or military, Bacchus is focused on happiness, and Ceres is focused on growth. So depending on your position on the map, use the appropriate religion. Let me show you the pantheon for each. The pantheon of Ceres has public order 35%, population growth 2.5%, and public order 10%. The pantheon of Bacchus has public order 50%, which is huge due to happiness, population growth 1%, and order 10%. And the last, the Temple of Jupiter, allows us to train Arcani, which I don't use that much. They are specialized forces, but more on that later. It has public order 35%, law 25%, and population growth 1%. So use this in military cities when you want to train units. Not the best bonuses, but they are well enough. Okay, now let's move to the tactics and the units. Okay, so here are all the units of the Julii that can train. First off is the peasants. Simply put, they are trash. They are useless, they are weak, and they have poor morale, they will run, and only are good in very large numbers if you want to use them. At the start of the game anyway. They are best used for garrison for unattacked cities or for population transfer. Next, the town watch. They are a little bit better than the peasants, but not much. Also used for garrisoning troops. The auxilia you get when the reforms of Gaius Marius take place. They are comparable to the triarii, and they are best used for anti-cavalry purposes. Next up, the hastati. These are the first units you will use in the game proper. Your basic infantry unit. They can throw their spears, and they can hold the line pretty well against warbands. Next up, the triarii. They are the best units pre-reform. They are better used against cavalry, of course, being spearmen. The Principes. They are your second line after the Hastati are spent. They use missile weapons and, well, they are well armored. They are a little bit better than the Hastati. They are considered heavy infantry. The early legionary cohort, the basic unit after the reforms, they are comparable to the Hastati but with better stats, basically. Now, here's the special units of the Julii, the Samnite Gladiators. Only the Julii can train them. Suffice to say, they are the best melee fighters, but I don't use them very much personally. They have only 40 guys in their unit. But if you want a shock troop, these are the guys for you. The Legionary cohort. Now these guys are good. One of the better units in your army after the reforms. They are better than of course, the first or the early Legionary cohort. After that, the Praetorian cohort. We are starting to get into the elite units. Suffice to say, they are the best units around. And urban cohorts, take what I said about the Praetorians and add a plus. These are the best infantry units in the game. Arcani. As I said before, I don't use them that much. They are shock troops, specialized units for surprise. They have 2 hit points, well armored, good morale, but only 32, so less than the gladiators. I don't use them that much. Now, early legionary first cohort. This is a special unit, trainable in Rome, I believe. It has 122 units, guys in a unit, and has the eagle, which inspires the nearby troops, so that's special. Same goes for the legionary first cohort. They are better than the early legionaries, but comparable stats, as you can see. Better defense overall. Okay, so that's the basic infantry, or melee infantry. Let's go to the ranged. We have Roman archers. They have combat bonus in woods, can use flaming missiles and fast moving. Yeah, you cannot expect these guys to hold a line, but they can be useful as auxiliary troops. Next up is the Velites, our first skirmish units of the game. Pretty weak, but use them before charging with the Hastati in battle. And this light auxilia is the same as the Velites, only these guys are coming after the reforms, the Marian reforms. And archer auxilia, these guys are better than the basic archers, of course. And they have long range missiles, which are pretty useful, more useful than the basic archers, which don't have long range. Next up is a special unit, incendiary pigs, which I don't use. They are best used against the Carthaginians. They frighten elephants and they are fast moving. Otherwise, do not use them. Now, war dogs. I kinda like this unit. They can frighten nearby enemy troops and lower their morale. It makes breaking units easier, so use these guys whenever possible. Now, on to the cavalry units. Our first cavalry unit is the Equites. They can form wedge, they have good stamina and they're fast moving. Use them as light cavalry, otherwise they're not so good. Next up, Roman cavalry, better than the Equites. Not much to say, you can see, comparable stats. They have slightly better morale and defense. Next up is the legionary cavalry. You get this unit after the reforms. Better than the normal cavalry and the Equites. The Roman general. Suffice to say, do not lose this guy in battle. Only use this guy as a last resort. Otherwise, keep him close by to your troops. He will inspire them. The Praetorian cavalry. One of the best cavalry units the Julii can muster. They are better than Equites cavalry and legionary cavalry. The Roman armored general comes after the reforms, comparable to the normal general. And next up is the cavalry auxilia. Use these guys when you prefer mounted skirmishers rather than velites or auxilia, simple auxilia. Now to the siege units. As Romans, we get access to the ballistas. You can see missiles can impale several men, which is, you know, horrific. It has long-range missiles and can use flaming ones. It's a good unit to have, but do not rely on it. Next up is the Scorpions. Missiles can impale several men, of course, like ballistas do. Slightly better than the ballistas. Repeating ballistas. Now this I would use. If I wanted to focus on siege weapons, I would use repeating ballistas. They fire continuously and are better than these two. Now to the heavy stuff, onagers. The onagers are basically a big catapult. It has an area attack, very long range missiles, and can use flaming ones. This is good for breaking up walls. Do not use this against troops, it's very inaccurate. And the last one is heavy onagers, which suffice to say is a better version of the simple onagers. It has a larger attack value, and use this to break up walls and large concentration of troops if you can hit something. Okay, so now I will set up a small fight.
Units, on my orders!
Okay, so welcome to the tactics phase of this guide. I want to show you how you should arrange a Roman army in battle. Okay, so first of all, in any battle you should be aware of the terrain. This is a perfect map for an example. We have many hills. So first of all, pick the general. He should be at the back of any army, right here. Then select the archers, move them up front on the highest point of the hill. Then select the velites, or skirmishers if you have them. Put them in front of the archers, just like this. Facing the enemy, of course. Now, if you are on a hill, our range units will fire further. Okay, the general behind. Now for the basic infantry. Let's take one infantry and put it on the side. Just like this. Enable fire at will and guard mode. And for the rest of our infantry, right to the back of the archers. Enable fire at will and do not defend. No guard mode for these guys. So this is a basic layout of an early Roman army, especially in a defensive fight. Now, if you want to attack, move the skirmishers forward. Move the archers back. Always have your flanks protected in case the AI tries to encircle you. Okay, so when the enemy closes, use your skirmishers to fire their pilum at enemies. Then retreat with your skirmishers and archers behind this line of infantry and let them duke it out till the end. I will not play this battle till the end because the armies are unbalanced, but you get an idea what to do. Okay, so let's summarize the Julii faction. They have very good infantry, one of the best in the games actually. They have decent cavalry, but do not rely on the cavalry to win the day. And they have quite poor archers and auxilia support, but they can be useful. So use them when you need to. I think that's about it. I think I covered all the points. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please smash the like button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in my next guide. Have a great day and bye.